So, most of us think of deities as eternal, right? Immortal, completely untouched by the ravages of time. But what happens when a god actually grows old? When they become fragile and literally experience death? Well, today we're exploring a living god who goes through a very real physical life cycle. It's an absolute puzzle of a mystery, and I honestly can't wait for us to dig into it together. Welcome to today's explainer. We are heading straight into the heart of the Nabakalebara ceremony of Lord Jagannath, right in Puri, Odisha. Now, this isn't just your average festival. It's a massive, intricately planned spiritual undertaking where millions of people actually gather to witness the death and rebirth of the divine. It's the stunning blend of devotion, total secrecy, and ancient tradition, and honestly, it might completely change how you view idol worship. Okay, let's dive into this. The term itself literally breaks down into two parts. Naba means new, and Kalebara means body. So put them together and you get new embodiment. Unlike the annual chariot festival you might have heard of before, this is a much larger, way rarer event. This is where the presiding deities of the Jagannath temple actually give up their old wooden bodies and accept completely brand new ones. Now, you might be wondering why this is necessary. Well, in traditional Hindu temples, you usually see deities carved from stone or maybe cast in metal. They're permanent, they are designed to last for thousands of years. But Lord Jagannath is entirely different. He's known as Daru Brahma, meaning the supreme soul embodied in wood. And, well, because wood is perishable, it decays, the physical form has a literal lifespan, so it naturally requires periodic renewal. Moving into our first section, the divine rebirth cycle. And this renewal isn't just a practical replacement of old wood. It is a meticulously calculated cosmic event. So how often does a god actually need a new body? The answer is every 8 to 19 years. The exact timing isn't random at all. It's strictly dictated by the stars. Temple astrologers calculate exactly when the Odia lunar month of Ashada doubles. It's a leap month known as Adhika Masa. And when that specific astrological doubling happens, boom, the massive machinery of the Nabakalebara is set into motion. And this actually perfectly illustrates a core concept straight from the Bhagavad Gita. Just as a person puts on new garments and gives up the old, the soul accepts new material bodies and gives up old, useless ones. Literally, the supreme soul of Lord Jagannath discards his old wooden vessel for a fresh one. It's just the ultimate grand-scale visual metaphor showing us that while the physical body is temporary, the soul is eternal. Which brings us to Section 2, Seeking the Sacred Wood, also known as the Vinayaga Yatra. So how do they actually find these new bodies? Well, it kicks off this incredible holy expedition. Temple servitors, known as Dyantapatis, set out barefoot into the forests just to find the sacred neem trees that will become the new deities. But they aren't just looking for any random trees. It's basically the most impossible divine scavenger hunt you can imagine. Get this. There must be absolutely no bird nests in the tree, meaning no bird has ever perched there. There has to be a snake hole right at the roots guarding it. It has to be located near a cremation ground and a Shiva temple. And if that wasn't enough, it must even have natural impressions of divine symbols, like a conch and a wheel, right on its bark. Crazy, right? Now, what's really interesting about this is that each of the 4 deities requires a completely unique tree with specific physical traits. Notice how Lord Balabhadra requires exactly 7 branches and a light-colored bark. Goddess Subhadra needs 5 branches and yellowish bark. Lord Jagannath's tree must be dark, with exactly 4 main branches, which actually symbolize the 4 arms of Narayana. Finding just one of these trees feels like an absolute miracle, let alone tracking down all 4 of them. All right, Section 3, the secret carving process. So once these sacred logs, which are called the daru, are finally found, ritually cut, and brought all the way back to the temple in Puri on special wooden carts, the whole transformation becomes incredibly guarded. The carpenters isolate themselves in a specially constructed, completely locked enclosure in the northern precinct of the temple. And for 21 days, they work in total isolation under extreme devotion. I'm talking no eating, no drinking, and no smoking inside. And to ensure absolute secrecy, priests actually chant the Vedas, and musicians seem outside the walls, literally just to mask the sound of the carving tools. It's wild. Next up, Section 4, Transferring the Supreme Soul, also known as Gata Parivartan. Because, at the end of the day, a carved piece of wood is still just wood until it actually has a soul. I want you to picture the setting for this transfer. It's the midnight of Chachadurashi, literally the darkest night of the entire lunar month. Complete silence blankets the temple. Every single other servitor and priest is cleared out to ensure absolute privacy. The entire town even loses its electricity to guarantee total unbroken darkness. Only a select few chiefs of the Dayapati clan are allowed inside the inner sanctum. And so the crucial point here is that even the priests who perform this sacred transfer aren't actually allowed to witness it. They are completely blindfolded. Their hands are wrapped in thick layers of cloth. They reach into a secret cavity inside the old wooden idol, remove the divine essence, and carefully place it right into the new idol. They can't see it, and they can't even feel what they're holding. This mysterious essence is known as the Brahma Padartha, and honestly, no one knows exactly what it is. Some ancient scriptures hint it might be a sacred relic, while others say it's just pure cosmic energy. What we do know for sure is that it's the immortal core. It's what actually gives life to the wooden body. It's this continuous heartbeat of divinity that has been passed down generation to generation, outliving entire empires. Let's move to section 5 and see how this builds to the final emotional phase, the midnight burial. So once the soul is transferred, those old wooden bodies become completely lifeless shells, which means they require a proper funeral. And this reveals a truly surprising fact. The Puri Jagannath temple is literally the only Hindu temple that contains a burial ground, specifically inside its own premises. It's called Koili Vaikuntha. Koili means burial ground and Vaikuntha means heaven. It's a designated graveyard meant exclusively for the disposal of the divine deities. In a deeply emotional, solemn process called patali, those old, lifeless idols, along with the wooden chariot horses from a festival, are buried in a massive pit. We're talking 25 feet long, 20 feet wide, and 10 feet deep. The Dayapati priests, who actually consider themselves family members of the Lord, then enter a strict 10-day period of heavy mourning. They weep, they fast, and they perform obsequies exactly as they would if their own flesh and blood forefather had just passed away. Okay, let's take a quick moment to look back at this epic cycle we just covered. We started with the Vinayaka Yatra, that grueling barefoot search through the forest for those perfectly marked neem trees. Then, the intense 21 days of secret carving behind completely locked doors. Next, the absolute climax, the midnight Gada Parivartan, where that immortal soul is transferred totally blindfolded. And finally, the emotional burial and mourning at Koili Vaikuntha. It's just a staggering logistical and spiritual journey from start to finish. Which really leaves us with this final provocative thought. The Brahma Padartha has never been seen, it's never been felt, and it has certainly never been photographed. Yet it moves millions of people and has sustained an entire culture across centuries. So if the essence of divinity has no form and literally cannot be seen, does its true power simply lie in the unbreakable faith of those who guard it? Think about that as you process this incredible cycle of rebirth. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I hope you keep questioning the fascinating world around you.